Hi everyone. Button your goddamn shirt up here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Mac DeMarco album, This Old Dog. Mac DeMarco is a singer-songwriter, white guy from Canada, captured tracks artist, and a Viceroy smoker. Please stop smoking, Mac DeMarco. Please stop smoking. And now he's back with another album, which I have been looking forward to, not only because I knew it was going to be one of the bigger releases of the year, but this is the record that I was crossing my fingers and hoping that Mac DeMarco would come through with an album that didn't just play like a compilation of songs. Sort of my primary issue with his album number 2, his big breakout album, though not my only issue. A lot of good tracks on that record though. I thought the kind of jangly, smooth, very dreamy pop rock he delivered on this record could have used a bit of variety, especially on the follow-up album, Salad Days, where I feel like that sound really turned drab very fast. I came away from Salad Days feeling so underwhelmed, but felt weirdly hopeful when I read some talk of Mac DeMarco butting heads with his record label over the creative direction of the album a bit, thinking that, hey, maybe if Mac DeMarco had more full control over the record, I would have liked it more. After all, I did end up enjoying that Another One EP that he released shortly thereafter, and Captured Tracks dropped quite a few teaser tracks up to the release of this album, so it was kind of easy to see where Mac DeMarco was going to be taking this record, with the emphasis on synthesizers, songs that lyrically seemed way more sad and introspective. Mac's usually happy-go-lucky, very blissful vibe was kind of melting away a bit, and that is swapped out with tracks that kind of reflect the pain of loneliness, and Mac DeMarco's struggle to grow up and mature to become his own man outside of the shadow of his father, who he has a troubled past with, given that he abandoned him and his mother when he was young. This is a side of Mac DeMarco that we have not seen explored before at this depth. And even though it may not seem like much because Mac DeMarco doesn't really tend to load his songs with a lot of instrumentation, with a lot of sound, he plays it pretty subtle, he plays it pretty simple. The addition of drum machines and the synthesizers and more acoustic guitars into the mix on this thing actually does bring more variety to the record, makes the album sound more dynamic, more engaging, even if on the whole this album still feels very easygoing and somewhat breezy. I guess now that sound makes a more interesting match, a more interesting juxtaposition against the increasingly grim and somewhat depressing lyrics that are laced throughout the album, like on Dreams from Yesterday or One More Love Song. As I listen to this record, it feels like I'm watching some kind of slow motion video of Mac DeMarco descending into some kind of moody abyss whose depth and intensity grows as the album goes on. Like when Mac DeMarco's vocals are drenched in echo on the very spacey On the Level, whose verses swap out with these very smooth, elongated, and icy, icy, icy synth lines. The song Moonlight on the River closes out with this very chaotic and abrasive wall of guitar noise and frightening sound effects. As lyrically on the track, he kind of reflects on his father abandoning him and his mother, which is a bit of a narrative on the record he puts to bed on the closing track, where he is reflecting instead on his father dying. And even though he didn't really kind of have that relationship with him over the years, he never really got to know his father personally like that, it still hurts to know that he's not going to be on this planet anymore. Mac DeMarco struggles on this track to call him up to really do anything to reach out or even tell him off for all of the years of abandonment. Now, this album isn't all doom and gloom. Mac DeMarco does still bring a handful of funky, playful, I guess awkwardly sensual instrumentals that I like quite a bit. The song For the First Time, I think, is one of his best love songs in a while. Really up there in my opinion with My Kind of Woman. It's just like seeing her for the first time. I love how smooth and sweet that song is. I like how the song is just so soft and gentle, but there's also kind of something that's playful about it, flirty about it, but shy too. On the track One Another, we get a little bit of a Velvet Underground vibe coming through on the groove and some of the guitar licks on the track. I love the opening of the track A Wolf in Sheep's Clothes, where we get these sunny guitar licks and harmonicas as well. Kind of seems like it has a bit of a classic rock vibe to it. And Dreams of Yesterday has like some undertones of bossa nova to it. I'd say. There are a lot of instrumental qualities about this record that I love. Mac DeMarco seems to do a lot with a little on this album. The bass lines and the drums play it pretty straight. The acoustic guitars really only serve as a rhythm track a lot of the time. It's really about some of these guitar leads, some of these synth leads, Mac DeMarco's lyrics and vocals. The songwriting sometimes is just so sturdy you really don't need to gussy it up in order to get across what makes the tune so good. However, not all tunes on this album were created equal, which is kind of a continuing issue for me on Mac DeMarco albums, just the inconsistency in the quality of the writing. And not that there's an incredible nosedive with some awful lyrics flying at you in every direction or something like that. It's just that some songs here feel somewhat unfinished. They end very abruptly, they don't have an ending at all, or they're just painfully short, like Mac didn't fully commit to just fleshing the song out to its proper finish. Sister, the Wolves in Sheep's Clothes, the Dreams track. Meanwhile, other tracks, such as This Old Dog, I think could have used a starker chorus or just more instrumental change-ups to make the song feel more dynamic. These tracks feel just kind of flat to me, like there just wasn't enough progression across the track. And on the track Baby You're Out, one of the least pleasant instrumental decisions is made to sort of include this beep beep little keyboard part that it doesn't enhance the groove of the track, it doesn't enhance the melody or bring a melodic element to the track that's all that interesting. It sort of juts out and ruins the smooth, groovy tone of the song. It's one of the worst incorporations of synths on the entire record. Actually, the worst incorporation of synths on the entire record. I have no idea where this beep beep sort of comes from. It's really poison to me every time I hear the song. It really ruins the tune for me. It's something that would have otherwise been a decent track in my opinion. While this album may be a bit of a mixed bag, I didn't come away thinking that Mac DeMarco made the best use of all 40 plus minutes of this album. I do think this is his best record since too, not only because of the instrumental diversity across this record, but also just how interesting some of the songs and lyrics are on this record. I feel like we're just getting a side of Mac DeMarco that we have not gotten before, not to this degree. And I've also noticed he's matured quite a bit in his songwriting and his lyricism for this record too, something I highly commend. But while I like this record, coming away from it, I'm not so sure if it's gonna hit, if it's gonna pop, if it's gonna make waves like his previous releases did, because I do think this is a patient listener's album. People looking for those purely feel-good vibes from Mac's earlier releases might not get that on this record. Not to say this is a negative album, but it is a very introspective and somewhat moody record. I think Mac did a good job of mostly getting his sound to apply to this new lyrical direction, but this is not a 2. Still though, it's working for me. I came away liking this record. I think it's very good. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this thing. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe. And please just leave an angry comment in the comments if you're angry. Mac DeMarco, This Old Dog. Other videos next to my head that you should check out. Subscribe to the channel, official website link to forever.